8 years ago, I was a newly licensed real estate agent, and I had really jumped in full force with no idea what I was doing. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, and this is the advice that I would go back and give my younger self if I could. So I'm going to give it to you. That way you can get started with the right expectations, but also so that you can avoid some of the major mistakes that I made in the first few years and grow your real estate business faster. Now, I do not regret getting into real estate, becoming a licensed real estate agent, but there are 10 things that I wish I knew up front, and I'm going to share those with you today. Very first would be to use your own email address, your own website, your own domain, and here is why. You may think that you are going to be at your brokerage forever. You may think this is the dream brokerage, I love it, but if for any reason any changes happen in the future with your brokerage, whether you change, the brokerage closes, maybe the brokerage sells to another brokerage and you are using their email address, their domain, their website that they have provided you, you are now out all of your contacts and anybody that has your contact info. If you have SEO, you have domain ranking, you have content on your website, you have lost all of that. Now, I made this mistake with my first brokerage, and I had a year's worth of content. I had clients that had my domain from my brokerage, that was their way of contacting me. They went to contact me in the future, and they had no way to contact me, and I had no way to contact them. And we're going to get into another reason in just a bit, but using your own email address, using your own website, having your own domain is so critical. That way you have control over your content and over ownership and what happens. You can have everything within your control, and you know that you're not going to be stripped of any of your potential relationships, of any leads, of anybody that has that content or that website, that domain, that email address, because you are in ownership and it's in your hands versus in the hands of somebody else where you have no control. From the very first day, I want you to start either a spreadsheet or a very simple CRM to keep track of all conversations and context that you have. Now, very upfront, I did not invest into a CRM because I just did not have the business to support some of the CRMs that I was looking at, and I did not truly understand the importance of organizing my contacts and conversations so that I could follow up with people later, make sure that I wasn't missing out on potential business. What ended up happening was I would have conversations with somebody, but it wouldn't be tracked. That conversation, would be something like, hey, I'm thinking about maybe buying a house, but I'm probably a year or two out. I'm really just starting to get information, and I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Well, that is a lead, but I didn't have any way to follow up with them because after a couple of weeks, I would forget who it was that I would have that conversation with. And if they didn't come back to me, I wasn't intentionally reaching back out to them, and I was losing out on leads and business. This also ended up making it very hard for me to stay top of mind with past clients. I would have a closing, but I wouldn't have any kind of system or spreadsheet to have a plan to stay top of mind, track them, make sure that everything has gone okay with the house or the move, and it wasn't very organized. And so I lost out on business for the first couple of years because there wasn't a definite or concrete plan and system to organize and keep track of all of my conversations. Now, if I was being smart about this, I would have just started an Excel spreadsheet with the name and a little description about what we talked about, added in a cell phone number, an email address, and a address if I had it, and then adding in those things over time. Now, you may think, I don't have enough contacts to have a CRM. That is totally fine. You don't need to have a CRM, but you do need to have, at the very minimum, a spreadsheet. And you know what? There's a lot of agents that I know that became top producers using a basic spreadsheet, either in Excel or a Google Sheets file, to keep track of their contacts, keep track of their people and their conversations, and then invested into an actual CRM when they had more sales and closings. All the advice that you get as a new agent isn't necessarily going to be the best advice for you. There is a difference between getting very generalized advice that is meant to go out to a mass of people, a group of people, versus leaning into specific and individualized advice and a plan. You are going to have a different skill set and goals than the agent next to you. The person who joins at the same time as you may have a different background. They may want to be in a different part of the real estate industry. Maybe they want to work with investors. Maybe you want to work residential. Maybe you want to work commercial, right? You can't apply all advice the same because you need to take it and customize it for your goals and your skill sets. So just know that when you're getting advice, it is going to be generalized and you're going to have to discern and customize it and tailor it to your skill set and your goals moving forward. It should be one of your top priorities to network and get to know more people in your area, in the area that you're wanting to serve real estate clients. This is something that I didn't truly understand the benefit of growing my network, both with potential clients, but also with different people who would be serving my potential clients and my future clients with their services and their products as well. And also networking and getting to know more people in the industry that I could trade referrals with, seek advice. Your network and the people that you know are going to be a game changer for you overall, and focusing on growing your network and meeting more people should be one of your top goals. Now, the way that you're going to do this may look different again than the agent next to you and then the agent next to them, right? You're going to have to figure out how you are comfortable getting to know people and meeting more people and adding more people to your network. But your network is going to ultimately be the thing that is going to grow your business and propel you forward to create more real estate opportunities for you as a new agent. The environment that you're in matters more than you think. When I was first licensed, I joined a different brokerage than I'm currently at and that I've been at for years. And that brokerage taught me a lot of things about what I do not want in my real estate business. And I truly believe that while I have learned so many lessons from that first brokerage, I also know that that brokerage was holding me back. The reason that I know that is because there were multiple signs and things that were told to me at the very beginning that I knew didn't align with what my goals and my vision were. And what ended up happening was that negativity caused me to second guess myself. It caused me to doubt my abilities. And it slowed down my progress because I was in an environment where the people around me, the leadership in that office, did not believe in me. They did not encourage me. They pretty much told me, that's never going to happen. You're never going to hit your goals that way. And that form of marketing does not work. And let me tell you that anytime the people who are supposed to be training you and building you up and leading you are talking negatively about your goals, they're talking negatively about your processes, and they're talking negatively about you, you need to leave immediately. Don't look back. It doesn't matter if you leave your brokerage or not. You are not tied to a brokerage ever. You can grow, you can change, and it's not personal, it's business. But business is personal in a way, and I would also say if the personal people in your life are talking to you that way, I would really question if that is the right environment for you to grow and to meet the goals that you're trying to hit. Your environment matters more than you think. And the thing is that my first brokerage, we took these personality tests, and I did not score a certain way on my personality tests. And our team leader, essentially, of the brokerage for new agents told me, you're never going to be successful in this business because of the results of this personality test. And I had been licensed for probably 3 weeks at that time, 2 weeks at the brokerage, and I should have left. I should have left immediately, but I stayed for a whole year. Now, I learned so many lessons, but if another agent that was new or even experienced told me the same thing, to this day, I would say it's not worth staying. Yes, you're going to learn lessons, I'm sure, but it's not worth staying. Leave immediately. Go find an environment that is going to help you thrive, grow, and meet your goals. And if they're not, it's not the environment for you. And of course, I did learn that. It took me a year to put my foot down and say, this is a toxic work environment. This is not the environment for me to grow. And it did cost me a little bit of money leaving because I had deals on the table, but they were also taking a ton, which is another story, but they were also taking a ton of money for not supporting me and for speaking down to me. And, that was not the environment that I needed to grow and thrive. So your environment matters. Take the time and find an environment that is the right fit for you. And do not look back if you end up in an environment that is not the right fit, that is going to hold you back and limit you, because there's enough things working against you. You don't need the environment that you're in every single day to also be pulling you backwards, holding you back from going after what you want and what you deserve. You are going into a sales career, and sales can have a negative connotation, but you need to learn the right way to do sales, and you need to learn the difference between doing sales in a spammy, used car salesman type of way versus being uncomfortable because you are in a position to grow and learn a new skill. And what I will say is that this is probably going to be a constantly evolving process. Now, if you want to learn sales skills, I could give you some advice from some people to learn from here on YouTube that I think are great people to learn from that are going to change your mindset. There's books, there's podcasts, and there's some YouTube channels that maybe I'll just put a free resource together and put it down in the description. But you are going into sales, and sales is not a bad thing. Sales happen all the time around us. Sales happen, when you're trying to convince your spouse of something, or you're trying to convince a friend to go to your choice for a restaurant that night instead of theirs, right? Sales happens in a lot of different formats, but you are in a sales career, and learning and investing into your sales skills and doing it in a way where you're uncomfortable, but it's because you're growing and you're learning, is essential. And if you're feeling spammy and it doesn't align, that's different. And so you're going to have to learn to discern the two, because you're in sales, and you're not going to be able to get away from the fact that you're in sales. Your habits and your personal development are now more important than ever getting into this career. This career is going to require that you grow, that you stretch, that you push through hard moments, ups and downs, and your habits and your personal development are going to be essential for you throughout your career. And for me, I went through quite a bit of time where I let my habits and my personal development slide because I was having my boys very close in age and just overwhelmed, and I let bad habits kind of take over my routines, my mindset, and that really hurt me in my career. And I grew up in an environment where I was a competitive athlete. We were pushed to do really well in school, to grow and learn constantly. And I had really good habits and personal development routines that I had grown up in and I had throughout, college. And I just want to say that if I could go back to starting over as a new agent, this is one of the biggest areas that I would focus on. Stay in shape, stay in movement, stay reading and learning and having good things come into your mind, because you want to have a strong mind. You want to have resilience. You want to have strength and courage, and you're going to want to be able to push through the hard moments, because there's a lot of reward in real estate, but there's also a lot that you're going to have to push through, because it doesn't come easy to get that reward. With high reward, it's going to require more of you. And so your habits and your personal development are going to help you to rise up to be able to take hold of that reward that you're going to get on the other side, right? But if you're not strong, if you're not healthy, both in your body and in your mind and in your heart, it's going to be a lot harder from you. And I'm saying that from experience, because there were moments where I thought I was going to completely break because of how weak I was, both physically, mentally, and in my conviction, in my spirit. And I want to say that whatever your beliefs are, I'm a Christian, and I also believe that God has given us the mindset tools, and He's given us ways to encourage our thought patterns and to grow. And you need that. You need that to push forward and to grow and to continue to move. And I would encourage you that, again, if you're in an environment that's not encouraging that, or where that's slipping, you might need to bring in outside people, outside resources to help you so that you can strengthen your body, your mind, and your conviction, your spirit, your liveliness, to be able to really thrive for a long time in this career. Because for many of you, it's not just going to be something where you're a real estate agent for a year. That's really not enough time to gain traction and create a career. You want to be in this for the long haul, to create change and to create a business that you love, right? Well, you're going to need great habits and personal development in order to do that. Now, this feels like a little bit of big sister encouragement time from me. And that is that I want you to know that it is normal for it to take time to grow and gain momentum and traction in this business. You are dealing with people's biggest assets. Sometimes this is the one big purchase that they're going to make in their entire life. Sometimes this is, people are going to buy and sell a few homes. But for most people, these are not everyday transactions that they are doing, that they are spending this kind of money, that there's this kind of money on the line, right? And so with that, you've got to build up a lot of trust to be able to earn that transaction. And that is not going to come with being in the business for a month. Now, some people get traction very early. They get licensed and they have a network in place, they have people in place, and yes, they get a transaction, they get a buyer, they get a seller, right away. But it is completely normal if you're 6 months in, 8 months in, 9 months in, and you still are working with your first client, gaining your first client that's actually going to transact. What I want you to know is that what you are doing now, the conversations you are having now, you're going to see in most likely the next 6 months to 12 months, sometimes 2 years from now. And so if you think about when you're starting right now, it is not normal for you to have a conversation and they're ready to go right now. Typically, that's not going to happen. You're going to experience this over time, where you have a first conversation with somebody in real estate and they don't end up doing anything for the next 6 months to a year, sometimes a year and a half, 2 years, right? That's going to become normal for you, that they may think, it's going to go faster and it ends up taking time. Life happens, right? These are big moves. They take time, they take planning. So just know that if you are 6 months in and you don't have your first transaction yet, it's okay. You're not a failure. It's normal. It's normal for it to take time, and the momentum does come, but you've got to stay consistent with it even when you don't have a closing yet. Expenses. This business can be expensive, and there are expenses both up front and ongoing that you're going to need to pay for. So if you have absolutely no money, I would encourage you to get a little side something, to keep a part-time job, a side gig, even if it's like 5 to 10 hours a month. I left my training business to go into real estate, and I had one training client that I stayed with consistently while I was still getting my license, and I was also working part-time as in sales at a bridal shop. And if going back, the one thing that I would say is I would keep that one weekly training client. It was like $30 for 45 minutes at their house at 5 a.m. on a Wednesday, right? I would keep that one training client, and I probably would have kept my sales job at the bridal shop, but maybe just reduced my hours a little bit to have some money coming in, even though it was not a lot, but I was doing really well at that job, just not enough. It wasn't the kind of thing I could make a career at with the pay structure there. But I would have had some more flexibility to invest in some things earlier on that I wanted to invest in, or not have to penny pinch in my business. So there are expenses that come with this business. You're probably going to have, I would say, depending on your market and your area, just getting licensed, about $1,500 to $2,500 in upfront expenses for your MLS, your association dues, your licensing fees, tests, things like that. But you're also going to want to get headshots. You're going to want to get business cards. You might want to get, a lockbox and a sign right up front. That way you are planning with faith for your very first listing to come to you, and that you're going to have the materials you need. And then, of course, if you want to invest in any kind of advertising or marketing, or even just a budget to take people to coffee, to network and meet more people, you want to have some money there. So while I'm not saying you can't bootstrap it, because you absolutely can, there are going to be some non-negotiable expenses. And also, you're going to need to be able to access lockboxes to start previewing properties. And I know here in Phoenix, I have a monthly fee for that. And I think there might have been a sign-on fee for that, but there are fees that you're going to have to pay, right? So it's okay if you have like a part-time side thing, if you're waiting tables 3 nights a week or something like that. There's going to be a lot of people that tell you not to do that. Don't have any kind of side job, don't have any kind of side hustle. Don't feel bad if you're doing what you have to do, that way that you can properly invest and spend the money that you need to up front in your business. Last but not least is to focus on people and conversations. We talked a little bit earlier about networking and growing your network and how impactful that's going to be. Ultimately, the more people that you know, you can create trust and relationship with them, and you can start having more conversations. The more conversations you have about real estate, the more opportunities for real estate transactions you're going to have. One of the things that I tell people is that they don't need to lead with, hey, do you want to buy, sell, or invest into real estate? That was taught to me by my first brokerage, and it was very cringy going back and seeing cold messages I sent people. But if I could go back, I would have conversations and just genuinely be like, hey, I want to meet more people. I want to connect with more people. I want to hear about what you're doing. The more that you support and give and pour into people and have conversations, real estate is going to come up naturally. And listen, there's going to be people that are never going to use you for real estate. It doesn't matter what you do. You may be too close to them. They may be more private. They may want to go with a complete stranger because they don't want to involve, personal relationships with their business relationships, right? And that is fine. But the more conversations you have, it's going to come up. What is the one question that people ask when they're meeting somebody or when they're, catching up with somebody is, what do you do for work? Or how is work going, right? And then when people find out you're in real estate, they typically are asking, hey, how's the market? And then you can be like, well, why do you ask? Or, for buyers, it's this. For sellers, it's this. Here's what we're experiencing. Do you have any interest in the market? Or, do you have any questions about your home or about what buying an investment property, right? It goes there naturally. You don't have to force it. And so if you can focus on people, knowing more people, building trust and relationship with people, because trust is so key in this industry, and then having more conversations, you are going to have more real estate opportunities, and you're going to be able to gain that momentum faster. So now that you know the 10 things that I wish I knew before I was a real estate agent, I want to invite you to watch this next video, which is going to talk about the type of content that is one of the strongest pillars of content that you can create to build more relationships with people locally and to create more conversations, and also to grow your network so that you have more opportunities to do real estate transactions in the future. So go check out that video, and I will see you next time.